Hey, how's it going, Kofi? How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing great, dude. Obviously, we got Elimination Chamber coming up on Sunday. A week ago, you weren't even on the show. A week later, coming off a Raw on Monday, you're in the main event competing for the WWE Championship. That's got to be cool, right?
Yeah, man. It just is a testament to how quickly things can turn around. I think, I have been fortunate enough to experience that on several occasions over the past decade plus. But that's the way that it goes, man. When Mr. Pierce that you had former WWE champions all in the pods. I was wondering what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But fate has a funny way of making it right, and hopefully we come out on top and we run it back and get a second WWE Championship title run on my record. So we'll see what happens, though.
Definitely. It's been about a year and a half, and it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it's been about a year and a half since you lost the championship to Brock. And this is the first title opportunity at the belt I think you've gotten since then. So do you see this as your chance to kind of your shot at redemption, so to speak, to get back the championship that you feel you should have never lost?
Yeah, man. I don't know about like redemption by any
Mm-hmm.
means. I think it's again just more of a case of like I've been around long enough to know that things change at the drop of a hat, and you can only control what you can control. You know, you just keep on grinding. That's always
Mm-hmm.
been my philosophy, and even when I lost to Brock, the next day it was back to work, and we ended up winning the tag team championships two more times. So like, you just keep on grinding, and when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, and at the end of your career, you look. Then I'll think I'll look back. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, like I'm still doing this, man. So I don't really take much time to kind of like look back at things and reminisce and all of that. It's all about pushing forward. So, yeah, looking forward to doing that again at the Elimination Chamber. It's one of my favorite matches to compete in. I think this might be my like fourth or fifth one, including
Yeah,
the
then this
tag
is your
team title.
sixth,
So
actually. Yeah.
six? Good God. I've been around too long. Yeah, I don't even remember. But yeah, man, it's a fun match. It's a really you get a lot of chances to do some innovative things. It's really unique. Starts off as a singles match, and then you have triple threats, and then four ways, five ways, and not to mention the hardcore aspect of it being inside the actual chamber. So I love this match, man. I think it's a really, really exciting thing to do, especially right before WrestleMania. You have no idea who is going to walk out as the WWE champion. So it's exciting, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next question for you. My bad. You've actually been in five because I wrote down all the ones you've been in here. So you were in the 2012 one, which was for the WWE title. You were in two tag team ones, which you guys won as part of the New Day. The WWE Championship one 2 years ago. And then I wrote down the '09 one, which you were supposed to be in before the whole Edge thing happened. So this will be your
Yeah,
fifth coming up
yep,
on Sunday. And you
yeah.
mentioned it
Didn't
right
quite make
there.
it in that time.
Yeah,
Didn't quite
exactly.
get inside the cage. So I guess we can't count that one.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess this will officially be your fifth chamber coming up on Sunday. When you go in for these type of matches, obviously this is one of the most grueling matches that WWE has. Does it get any easier stepping inside that structure, knowing what kind of pain you're about to endure, or is it just you're just like there's no way to prepare for this type of thing?
No, it doesn't. It definitely doesn't get easier knowing it. I just kind of take it as it is what it is. You know what you're going in there. Um, you know what's gonna happen. Like when you fall on or make contact with the steel, it's a little bit different than a cage because I feel like the cage has a little bit of give. Sometimes like you bump into it and there's it's not much better, but like a cage has a little bit of give, but the elimination chamber itself, like there's no give whatsoever. Those chains don't move. They tighten them up, pretty good. I've had my head wedged in between and got stuck in there, had my head ripped out. So it's just it's a brutal match, but again, it's one where you have to you really have to earn it, man. You really have to earn it, and you hope to be like the last one out, and you have that advantage. Unfortunately, I didn't do as well in this past gauntlet match that I did 2 years ago, but you just go in there and you just hope for the best. You just go in there and you fight. That's all you can really do.
And with this chamber, it's definitely a different scenario because, like last year, you and Big E were in the chamber, the tag team one. And I think that was actually the last event of any kind that had fans in it, which is crazy because, like, 3 days later, the world like stopped with the pandemic and whatnot. But unlike any other chamber you've been in before, this is the first one that has no fans. So is it weird? I mean, again, obviously the match hasn't happened yet, but like, is it weird going into a match like this? You take the bumps, you endure the pain. Normally you have that adrenaline, like you're feeding off the audience. There was no crowd this time around. So it's got to be different. A lot like the ladder match that you won at WrestleMania last year.
Yeah, it definitely is different, especially, us, New Day, me, E, Woods, we feed off the crowd. A lot of times we'll pay more attention to the crowd than we will our opponents in the ring, So it's been a little bit of a transition for us having to go out and manufacture our own energy as opposed to being able to feed off of energy, So I will say though that so WrestleMania last year, we didn't have any fans at all, right? You couldn't see any fans. This was before, like, we were in the performance center and we didn't even have people, like some of the students in the crowd as fans, So now at least we can like see people's faces, we know that like people are watching, So I think it's a little bit different being in the Thunderdome now. The environment is a little bit more, it's a lot more exciting just to be able to know and see that people are actually watching. Not that you didn't know before, but to be able to see somebody in the crowd is, it adds a little bit. Obviously, we would prefer to have people in the crowd live because, like I said, there's nothing like that energy. But, this is where we are in the world right now. And I think we're doing a pretty good job as far as entertaining people and providing everybody with a live, action-packed experience. So, yeah, it's I think once we get into it, though, like, especially in this Elimination Chamber, being all former WWE champions, you think that, like, once you win one, that you would, like, settle and be satisfied. And it's not like that at all. You just want more. You want more reigns. You want more chances to carry the ball and be the face of the company. And, so I think that energy in and of itself, being in there with so many guys who have the same mentality, that's a different kind of energy too, because you're fighting against the best of the best. It's almost like an all-star game. You know what I mean? It's like there's nobody in there who is not, qualified to be there, who is not, proven themselves as a WWE, heavyweight champion. There's no one in there that hasn't done it. So I think from that aspect, you get to really test yourself and go up against the best. So I think it's going to be great. It's going to be fine. We're all going to be able to pull through and just get hyped. Just get hyped because we know it's at stake.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, this was actually the same pay-per-view 2 years ago where KofiMania really took off. I mean, really it started with the gauntlet match on SmackDown before the pay-per-view, but the Elimination Chamber before WrestleMania was where we got to see you and Brian really mix it up before Mania itself. You teased KofiMania 2 coming up on Raw this past week, coming up on Sunday with Elimination Chamber. It's got to be a different dynamic. We get KofiMania 2 going into WrestleMania this year. I mean, I'm not to say it's not possible without an audience, but how does that really change the dynamic when you don't have fans to kind of feed it off of, kind of going off what you were just saying?
Well, the crazy thing is that I feel like if this Elimination Chamber would have happened, or if the Elimination Chamber 2 years ago would have happened without fans in the crowd, I don't know that I would have gotten the drive and the push that I got, because it was like probably, 99% fan driven. Every time, you'd go into the arena and everyone would be chanting my name. You felt a certain kind of energy. So I feel like, we did say KofiMania Part 2, kind of as a quip to Miz's sequels in his Marine movies and this and that. But honestly, I don't think that anything will ever have the same level of energy as that, that first championship title run that I had. Just the whole story going to it was something really special, really unique. And I've talked about it in several interviews over the past couple of years, but Daniel Bryan being the perfect opponent, being that he was in the same shoes a year or two earlier, you really couldn't have written it any better than it happened. And the fact is that it was organic, and the unfortunate thing is that it came at Ali's expense, because he ended up getting injured, and if he doesn't get injured, I'm not even in that spot at all. But, I'm still thankful that it all happened the way that it did, because again, it was just organic. So a long-winded way of saying, I don't know that we'll be able to emulate that same level of, you only get one first time, you know what I'm saying? But I think for myself personally, just trying to further establish myself as one of the greats on in the history of this industry, I'm still going to go out there and give it all I can to try and, you know, become a multiple time WWE champion. So, yeah, that's the goal, man. That's the goal. I when I say KofiMania, it's not cool coming out of my mouth. So I don't even like to say it. I don't even like to say it. It just sounds weird. But when the people come through and they say stuff like that, I'll take it all day. And I'm eternally grateful for the support that they've given me over the past few years.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I was there at WrestleMania 35 when you won the title. It was just an incredible moment. And not even just being there live. I think anyone will say watching that Mania that it was one of the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time, or one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time, just period. It was a very real thing, Kofi Mania, and it still is to this day, even 2 years later. And it's rare that we get to see that type of momentum. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but like you said, Daniel Bryan was in that same spot a couple of years earlier. If you had to pick anyone, I mean, obviously the answer would either be Big E or Xavier Woods, but outside of the New Day, to give someone like a Kofi Mania-esque moment for someone that had never really been given that world title opportunity, such as yourself before 2019, who would that be in your opinion? And would it be like a Cesaro, for example? Because I think a lot of people would say him.
Oh, yeah. It's tough to say, man, because there's so many people who are so good and so deserving and so capable of being able to be the face of WWE. But, I can't think of anyone else but Cesaro, you know, and I know there was a lot of talk about Nakamania with Shinsuke as well. And not to say that he's not deserving of it, but Cesaro, man, like we've had a lot of history. Even before, like on ECW, when he first came out, he was doing something where, he was saying that, you don't take from Cesaro, Cesaro takes from you. And he clipped a piece of my dreadlock off. We feuded for the United States Championship.
Yeah.
Then he teamed up with Tyson Kidd, and we feuded for the tag team titles. This is where the New Day ends up turning the crowd, and they were the ones who were the champions at the time. And then we started to take off. And if it wasn't for Cesaro and Kidd, we couldn't have had better opponents to make that transition. It's he's just awesome. He's so amazing in so many ways, and so many just in ways that we can't even express, from a performance aspect, from an entertainment aspect, from a knowledge aspect, a technical aspect. He can high fly if he wants to. He's smooth in there. He's probably pound for pound the strongest person in WWE. Like, he just checked off so many different boxes, man. And I just feel like he deserves it. I feel like he deserves it. And it would be amazing to see Cesaro as, as the WWE champion, or, Universal champion. He's just awesome. We had a whole podcast dedicated to us just gushing all over Cesaro and his talents and all that. We talk about it all the time, man. He's a heck of an amazing performer and entertainer. So we'll see, man. You never know what tomorrow holds. So we keep our fingers crossed every day for him.
Yeah, and you never know what Sunday is going to hold either, because he's in the other Elimination Chamber match with the winner getting a Universal title shot later on the night. So you never know, which is pretty cool. I've always been curious. People talk all the time about, Jeff Hardy's mentioned it, Sheamus has mentioned it, bringing back their old music. I know Sheamus is a big proponent of that type of thing. S.O.S, is there any chance that we get to hear that again? I know obviously with New Day now, people are hoping for it when you were WWE champion. Like Big E's got his own music now. Was there any ever talk of bringing that back 2 years ago?
You know what? For me, I always say that if people want to hear S.O.S, they can always go to the WWE Network for $9.99, and you can watch all the old Kofi Kingston matches that you want. Again, like I said in the beginning, man, I'm always thinking about pushing forward. I'm really grateful for S.O.S is an amazing song. Collie Budd on the track. He's an amazing an artist, and I can't even believe that I got him to do that music. It was all by chance. So man, I don't. It'll be weird for me to come out to that, because then it's like, whoa, why don't you put on the Jamaican accent again too? Oh, why don't you have your short dreadlocks again? Oh, why don't you wear those Jamaican colors again? And it's awesome that people like that my character back then, it resonated with so many people. But I don't, we actually touched on it when we went in the time machine on one episode of SmackDown. And we went back
I remember that.
2009. Yes. And but I think that's probably the last time you'll hear S.O.S on the on WWE television, unless we get that time machine again. I don't know. Or, I don't know. Maybe if I end up doing something with Bray and he brings me into that fun house and he dresses up like old Kofi Kingston and he puts on a dreadlock wig and, starts boom dropping and thunder clapping. I wouldn't mind seeing that, So we'll see. We'll see. But as far as me coming out to it, like I said, man, I just push forward, bro. I push forward. The boom, unfortunately, is dead. Yes.
Yeah.
Boom is dead.
The Boom Squad is no more, you're saying?
The Boom Squad can live. No, you put me over. Talk about what I used to be. Boom Squad will live forever. But the leader of the Boom Squad, unfortunately, is no longer. He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's moved on.
Well, I got to say, a buddy of mine, also a Bleacher Report, his name is Philip Lindsay. He wrote an article the other day. It was called the 10 little known Black historical moments in WWE history, with this being Black History Month. And one of the things that he wrote about, which I never dawned on me until he wrote about it, was that you are actually the longest reigning Black World Champion in WWE history. Everyone knows you've been a champion for over 1,000 days, and consecutively with all these different titles, which everyone knows about that. But you are the longest Black World Champion reigning in WWE history. Like, has that ever dawned on you? And what does that mean to you to hear that kind of stat?
It's pretty incredible, man. I did not know that. The crazy thing about the internet and the age of information that we live in these days is that you have access to all these stats. That's awesome, man. I take a lot of pride in that. That's really, really cool. Especially, just again, like being the first African-born WWE champion. I always tell people, and I have, sound like a broken record saying it. I've said it on a million different interviews, but I'll keep on saying it, that it's awesome because, when you tell a kid that anything is possible, they believe it because you say it. But when they see it, it makes a huge difference when African-American kids look at their WWE televisions and screens and watch the product and they see that there has been an African-born WWE champion and I was the one. So it's a reality. It's not hypothetical. It's a big difference, seeing is believing, right? So, I think that's an amazing stat, man. Like I said, I had no idea, but I take a lot of pride in that, like I said, once I retire, and I step away from the business, I'll take a look at all these accolades and probably have way more of an appreciation for them. Because it'll be cool to just sit there one day and be like, man, I did some pretty cool stuff in this industry, But yeah, man, like I said, I'm still here and I'm still doing it, and we got a lot more boxes to check off. So we're gonna keep on checking them off, keep on making history, and keep on making more moments.
For sure. Final question for you, Kofi. Any opponent that you haven't faced yet that's still on your list of dream opponents in WWE?
Yeah, there's a lot, man. Honestly, I would like to face Ali at some point.
For sure.
I would like to face Ali because we all know, like I mentioned before, that I was the one who took his spot in the Elimination Chamber, sparking off the greatest moment of my career. He's been pretty bitter about that. And, I think that there's some potential there. I think that, I feel bad sometimes that I had to be the one to take his spot because no one wants to get injured, right? Nobody wants to, no one wants that. No one wants to see that to happen to anybody. And I know how he's feeling. But I would love to kind of like close the chapter, close the door to that chapter, close the chapter on that book. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great, because I'm a big fan of things that seem like ancient history, but you bring them back. For example, the rivalry with myself and Randy Orton. We all know what happened in 2009 or 2010 when, my trajectory was pretty good. I was doing all right. Randy and I had a match. Some things happened in that match. He got very upset. And then, I had to grind for the next decade plus. We bring that storyline back, those issues back after I finally become WWE champion, and people remember that kind of stuff. So, I think it'd be cool to kind of touch back on that with Ali. He's doing his thing with Retribution right now, but, I don't know. That'd be something that I would love. there's a lot of people out there. I could probably go on all day about all the people who I would love to have matches with. We have so much talent between us and SmackDown and NXT and even other companies. There's just so much talent out there right now. I think that as a fan, you are really lucky to be able to see and experience so much talent in the wrestling industry right now. So a long-winded, almost non-answer, but I mean, I gave you one.
You gave me all eight. No, that's good. I think people want to see that match, and they could be fitting at WrestleMania. Like you said, you took a spot, not on purpose, but 2 years ago, and having it happen at WrestleMania, maybe for the WWE Championship, this time you as the champion, it would be a pretty great story, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But we'll see. You never know what the future holds, do we?
Exactly. Well, we got Elimination Chamber coming up on Sunday, KofiMania 2, hopefully kicking off then. It's going to be great. Thanks so much for the time, Kofi. I really appreciate it.
Hey, right on, man. Thank you.